welcome to another episode of Cognitive Cuisine. I am Wize Otero.
And I am Yayoi Komiyama.
And so, welcome back. How's everybody doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's beautiful weather here in New York. Last couple of days, it's been pretty good. It's been like in the low 70s, high 60s. So
Yeah,
it's beautiful. Yeah. And
uh, we definitely got some beautiful weather here in the mountains and Poconos over here. So, it's been, I've been enjoying the last few days, enjoying the weather. Uh, Actually, I'll be heading out after this and go and take a walk and enjoy the weather. So,
good. Good. Yeah. I know it's really nice. Just I don't know, just seeing the trees and especially the cherry blossoms because I love cherry blossoms. So it's so beautiful to see them. And I was thinking, oh yeah, when I get to buy a house of my own
mhm.
someday, soon, I hope, I'm gonna have a yard with cherry blossom trees.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I was imagining it. Like, oh, this will be so cool.
But
And then yeah, so I would love that. And I could walk around the yard, with the cherry blossoms and yeah, and the dog could be running around. I thought this would be fun. I have a very vivid imagination, so
there's nothing wrong to have imagination or to
yeah.
have a vision. No, that's nothing wrong with that.
Yep,
If you can see it, you can make it happen. So it's
that's
good that you can see it and envision it. That's always a good positive thing.
yes, yes, that's what I thought. So I'm exercising that and practicing my magnetism and manifestation techniques, I guess, by imagining.
But so what we're going to talk about today is content with soul, creating to connect, not to compete. And this was something when I looking at it, I was like, this is something that we both can relate to because we create content to connect with other people
Yeah,
and to help other people. We don't do it to compete. We do it because we love to do it because we love to help people. And being able to have these conversations and share these messages with people is what we want. We don't for us competition is not an option. We're not
yeah.
competing. We're just here doing something we love to do.
Yep, I totally agree with you because competition is really it doesn't work, really, because what you're doing is it's good maybe to see what others are being so you can aspire to it, but that's really not competition. That's more like aspiring to or modeling, right?
Yeah.
And to look outside is great to model people that you're like, oh, I want to be like that person, or I love the way that that person presented this, or, oh, that's such a great new concept. I want to try to understand that. And that's one thing. But when you start comparing yourself to your neighbor or another coach and saying, oh, I'm not good enough, or, that all happens, right? I'm not good enough. Oh, look at what they did. I don't do that. Oh, no, right? You don't want to go into that. And the only thing you should compare yourself to, my mentor always says this, is compare yourself to you yesterday.
Mhm.
So, how much further have you come from yesterday? Are you even half a step more than you were yesterday? And that's something to celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's something we don't do. People don't. We want to compare ourselves to other people,
Yeah.
even if say that person might have been in the game 10, 15 years, and you're just now getting in the game, and you're trying to compare yourself to that person. Like this person has 10 plus years experience on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
How,
And
how,
that,
how do you measuring yourself up to someone who's been doing this and mastering their craft, and you're just coming out and you just want to be a superstar? And that's something that podcasters fail to realize is like this is a marathon.
Yeah.
It's not a sprint. When in podcasting, you have to build up your audience,
Yep.
especially independent podcasters and content creators like us, where we don't have the celebrity fame and everything. So
Yeah.
everything we put into our work is truly us. It's
Yeah.
our hard work and dedication. It's us doing what we want to do because we truly want to help people.
Yeah.
So the content we create is to inspire. We're not putting out content because, oh, look at this person. No, we're doing it because we love to have these conversations,
Yeah.
and we love to help
Yeah.
people sharing our experiences and sharing what we're doing now.
Yep. And I think it's really, yeah, and a lot, both of us, I know, like we've been through some pain and struggles. So, you know, we know how that feels. And I think a lot of what we do is because fueled from that, in that we want to be able to help people so they don't have to have as much pain or suffer as much as we did, because we can spot somebody that's struggling in the way that we did because we were there at one time, right?
Yeah,
So we try to reach out to those and say, hey, I found a way that was easier for me to handle all this. So maybe I can help you to feel a little easier, or maybe not struggle as long as I did, things like that. And I think that's so important.
yeah, and like you mentioned, we both have gone through struggles, and we've. But that's everyone's. That's why it's so wonderful that we do what we do, because everyone has a story, right? Everyone has the struggles. Everybody's been through stuff, and to just have two normal, regular people who come from different lanes and different spaces have come together and created a show like ours where we can talk about it, basically anything. We can talk about whatever we want to talk about, and we decided to go this route because it's just something that we just love to do, is wanting to help improve people, is wanting to show people like, hey, regardless of whatever it is that's going on in your life or whatever the struggles you're going through, here are these two people that just regular folk. They, they, they put their pants on the same way. They put on their shirts. He's dressed the same way you do, but they come and show up and show their vulnerable sides. They're able to be vulnerable and show people, hey, listen, you made fun of yourself when you fell. I talk about what I've been going through with my weight and all everything. These are topics that people can relate to. People have fallen down, and my mother in law herself one day had a freak accident, fell, broke her arm, and it's different. It's these are real life incidents that we are sharing.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, yeah, I feel like both of us, we're coming from our hearts, we're projecting our hearts, maybe. I don't know. We're opening up our hearts, really, and sharing what yeah, like you said, our most vulnerable parts, more or less, right? And sharing, like, oh, this happened to me, and this is what I did to get through it. Maybe something will resonate with you. Maybe there's something that I say that you remember when you're like struggling, that would be ideal. Like if somebody remembered something like, oh, I just need to break the pattern, or all I need to do is rewire my brain, or maybe I should just look at it from a different perspective. If that thought, or even the awareness that, oh, I'm starting to spiral again, that is a big thing, just to have that awareness, because then you could stop it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's after you've kind of like, even with some of the things I've struggled with in the past, um, when they try to creep up again, you kind of know how to deal with it. Like when because even now, even still now, one of my biggest issues is procrastination, and it's something that I truly have to work on. And the wife argues with me and fights with me, and but it's true. It's something that I really need to work on because it would make so things so much simpler for me.
Yes. Yes.
It's like I'm making all this extra hard work for myself for no reason.
Yeah.
So
But there probably is a reason that you're
yeah,
not getting into yet. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I suffer from procrastination all the time too. Like,
yeah,
hello, I should, I'm leaving for a trip, going to a conference, starting Saturday, right? So I should be getting ready for it. Hello, I have not done a thing about it yet. You know, like some of my friends, they're like, "Oh, I already got my suitcase out and I already started packing my clothes." And I'm like, "Oh, I could do that like the night before and just, whatever, right?" Um, and well,
but then the night before you're rushing trying to get everything.
yep, yep, yep. And you're like, "Oh, I forgot to buy this. I forgot to buy that," right?
Yeah,
But the good thing is, I go on little trips a lot. So
yeah.
I already have a little travel kit, for my makeup and, toiletries and all that. So that's already set. So I don't have to worry about that. It's really just getting the clothes in and
Oh, that's easy then. That's
yeah,
the easy part.
yeah, yeah.
It's those
But
little minor essentials like the toothbrush and
oh yeah, that's
uh,
already packed in. So
yeah, all that. Yeah, at least yeah, we have one of those. We have a travel pack where
yeah.
we keep our this we're taking lotion or
Yeah, the smaller bottles and all that. Yeah.
tips and everything. Yeah, stuff that we take when we travel. Yeah,
Yeah. And one thing I do is that after I come back from a trip, I refill my little things because
and
I don't want to be rushed the night before refilling everything.
that's smart. So, yeah, as soon as you come back, let me
Yeah.
restock.
Yeah. Because as soon as I come back, I empty out my whatever, travel bags or all that, and I clean it up because I don't like it. Well, first of all, live in a small apartment, right? So I can't have it hanging out all the time. So I just clean it up, air it, and then I just put it away. So while I'm doing that, I'm like, I might as well take care of this because that way I won't have to worry about it next time.
Yeah, next time you just oop,
Yeah.
you put this in the bag. It's done.
Yep. Yep. And, I go to Massachusetts, frequently. And so I pack it for that as well. So, yeah. And it's just good to have it on hand. You never know. Also, yeah, I think it's important to have things prepared a little bit. But then, other things I procrastinate. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we were just before we came on air, we were discussing things you're doing and how amazing bump has been beneficial for you
Oh, yeah.
and so
Yes.
and I'm
Well,
always like I
mhm.
said when we're always talking about like you're always recording or always I'm always seeing an interview you're always it's it's so and that's why I see when I see you and you're always talking about bump and everything is but it's because there's so many like-minded people connecting right and you're
Yep,
doing
it is.
so many people that are creating good positive content
Yeah,
that is to empower the people, not just distract them. This is more
yeah,
to enlighten them and show them the way and be like, so
yep,
how is it when you being a part of that network and getting to meet all those wonderful people and getting to have all those great conversations? Because I
yep.
know I get that from
The
pod
podcasting, yeah, community, right?
and the
Yeah,
relationships I've been able to build through that.
yeah. It's amazing because I think a lot of entrepreneurs like us, right? Podcasters, even just entrepreneurs in general, it's pretty solitary, unless you build a community around yourself. And Bump is like that community. It's a virtual community. And, one of the ways that I met you was through one of the offshoots of, well, the origins of Bump, right? The parent of Bump, more or less. And I think those communities are so important because people are there to support each other. Like, so it's really to connect, it's coming from the heart. And none of us are there to really compete against each other. There's like some friendly competition, like,
Yes.
but it's not like the backstabbing kind. Like I was in commercial real estate when I was here in New York, gosh, more than 10 years ago. But I was in that kind of an office, and I could I saw all the backstabbing that was so nasty, and gosh, you start to believe like, oh gosh, humans are so nasty, right? And I didn't like that kind of an environment, to be honest. That's not me at all. But, I was like, it just it's sad to see that some people feel that that's the way they have to be.
Hmm.
And I see it, I mean, in corporate America, I see it a lot. But I think it's just learned behavior, and it stems from fear. A lot of it stems from fear that you're not going to be good enough, or somebody's going to take something away from you, because maybe somebody did take something away from you at some point. But it also means that, you have to come from your heart in order to really connect, make a connection with somebody. And you reap more from that than when you steal something from somebody or backstab somebody. Because, I hate to say it, karma does bite you back in the butt, you know.
As it does.
Yeah. And anyone, that's listening to this will probably chuckle because they know when they did something that they were like, well, it's a little shady, but maybe I'll just do it. And then, you just do it, but you don't get anywhere. Or you get the fame for maybe 15 seconds, but then somebody, is going to do the same back to you. It's
Yeah.
kind I was going to say, it's kind of like when you cheat on a boyfriend or girlfriend, and then, they cheat back on you, right?
Or if you cheat on your boyfriend or girlfriend, when you're in the next relationship, you get cheated on.
Yeah,
Either way,
that's true. That's true. It all balances out. And it really is like that. So, or like when you lie to a friend, right? And you feel the pain of that. And then they'll lie back to you. So it's like really what you sow is what you reap, really.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And so we just have to learn from all of those, and it's really about supporting each other. So bump is really about supporting each other. We have like daily calls, and we also have healthy competition, and we like promote each other in our groups and things like that.
And
And catapult is part of bump, which is the program that I did to blow up my Facebook group.
mhm.
And that's because we help each other to grow our groups. And that's like one of the, one of the things, one of the special things about Bump and Catapult. Yeah. So, and I really love that because everyone wants to help each other. So that's why I love doing what I'm doing.
And what people don't realize, right, is because when people now, especially in this digital age, this digital market, they think that you need to get these $1 million need to get 1 million views or 1 million listens and all this. No, if you build a big enough community to where you're providing value to them, and you're giving them content and information that is bringing value to them, that's your market.
Yeah,
That's the people you give you sell your services to. You provide your
exactly.
service. You provide your services to them.
Yeah. And it opens up many doors too, because you connect with like-minded people where you could do collaborations. You can go into each other's audiences. And of course, like I said, we have the parent, right, which is ENTV. And that is, I think it's got like 24,000 right now, 24,000 members in it. So, when you have the opportunity to stream into that, it's like a built-in audience, right? That you get kind of that you can get exposure to. And, as a podcaster, as an entrepreneur, you need exposure. Like you may be the best at what you do, but if people don't know that you know you at all, they don't know your existence, you can't get anywhere. And so you have to kind of like advocate for yourself. And I think going through systems like Bump, you kind of get to advocate for yourself because you promote yourself when you interview others as well, because you're out there, you're being seen. And I think that's what's important, is to just, well, like Nike says, right? Just do it. Yeah. But and anyone you talk to who's a success story in any field, they say that just doing what they wanted to do or what they were good at doing and just kept on doing it is what got them there. It's the resilience and resilience, repetition, and just doing it. And then something will click, or the right person will see it, or the right person will hear it. The right people will hear it. And yeah, that's how you get I think that's how you get more exposure and get people to acknowledge what you do.
Yeah. Even for me, even with starting the podcast and everything, and the moment I decided to really just focus more on being myself and and doing the kind of show that I wanted to do, but even the fact that I continued to, even though when I knew at the beginning when I sucked and I wasn't, and I kept going.
Yeah.
Because I can't. This was a lane that I wasn't a part of, and I had to learn
Yeah.
the game. I had to learn the system. I had to learn what it took to interview people and combat my own issues with wanting, being afraid of failing and making myself uncomfortable doing something that I had never done before.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this was something that was natural to me. It was just something like I want to do it. And when I discovered that I did have a voice and I could hang and do this, but it took time. It took me working and not being afraid of making mistakes, even sometimes leaving the mistakes up there so people can see, that, hey, listen, this is where I started at, and all these mess ups and all these long ass interviews that shouldn't have been 2 3 hours long, and because eventually you learn like, oh, we can condense that. You can make content where,
Yeah.
but I don't regret some of those interviews because
Yeah.
it taught me that I don't want to do 3 hour interviews. I rather,
That's true.
yeah, no. So
And
yeah,
yeah, it's learning from your, not mistakes, but it's learning from your if you take mistakes, and it's just another take, right? It's just another take, like in the movie business. You're
yeah,
just doing another take. So that's what it is, really. And we always say repetition is the mother of all skill.
yeah,
So it's just repeating it and getting better at it. And I think it's the same like when you were a kid, when you were first learning to write letters, the alphabet. I mean, hello, they were like really weird, right? I remember like I had to follow the dotted line and and when you're a kid, your grip isn't that good on the pencil, your control isn't that good, so you're like wobbly and it's not right, but you practice and you practice and you keep on doing it and it gets better.
um, um, So I'm not gonna lie. Um, I've completely forgot how to write calligraphy.
Cursive, you mean?
Yeah, cursive. I completely forgot how to write cursive.
I think most people don't know anymore.
I know how to sign my name in cursive, but that's it. So
Well,
if anyone was to ever ask me to write a letter in cursive, I would be like, no, I'm sorry.
well, you know what? But it's better when it's block letters because it's easier to
Read,
read.
yeah.
Because, oh my gosh, sometimes I used to be really great at reading, deciphering people's
Keep saying,
cursive,
yeah.
the squiggles, and I think over the years, maybe because I haven't been reading as much cursive, I can't decipher it as well. It's true. It's true. I was like, somebody wrote something to me in cursive, and I was like, huh. I'm like, I wonder what this is. Because
Like foreign
y-
language.
yeah, it's like a foreign language because, well, it's written in a foreign way, right? Because you're not so used to it anymore. Because we're so used to seeing things like online, which is all block letters, more or less. So, whereas, when I was growing up, it was you saw a lot of cursive, you saw a lot of those squiggly lines, and between correspondence, right? In correspondence.
Mhm.
And if you had a typewriter, somebody would type something to you, right? And then you could read it. But there were no computers back then. So well, in the home anyway, right? And
Yeah.
even if there were computers were using code that was like numbers.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was,
So,
I know in our school, hold on. I knocked my mic, not my mic, because I'm sure you can hear me, but I can't hear you because of my headsets. Hold on. There we go. I hear you now.
okay.
Things,
Uh, hmm Yeah. Oh, I think, what were you saying about your school or?
oh, yeah. Lost my train of thought. Yeah, yep. Anyway, if I remember,
Yeah.
I'll come back to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's really, but well, we got onto cursive and block letters and things like that, but it's really about practicing.
Mhm.
And when you practice, I mean, my mentor always says this too, and I try to do it as much as I can, is practice how you're going to be. So like even 5 years from now, who are you going to be, right? 5 years from now. And he said, practice how you're going to act as that person 5 years from now. Practice the ways that you would handle your company or your podcast or whatever you're doing. Be that person.
So basically, fake it until you make it.
Yeah, basically, because our
Yeah.
brains, like always say, our brains don't know what's true or false.
Yeah. No. I absolutely. That's why when people say, "Oh, fake it until you make it," kind of makes sense because that's what it is. You have to start programming your brain to think that way.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a whole different mindset. It's a whole different attitude. It's so when you start portraying yourself as that person,
yeah,
then things start to
yeah.
change.
And things turn that way, right? It
Mhm.
becomes that way. And that's why, choose your people carefully. That's what I always say. Because, you want, so when you select your models, the people that you want to model or the qualities you want the qualities that attract you and the qualities that you want to have, really be careful in selecting that because you want to aspire to, like, I know I want to be like my mentor, um who's Joseph McClendon. And I mean, he has such a generous heart, and I love that about him. Like, he always tells us, for his whatever he shares with us, he said, just use it like it's your own, you don't have to quote me. And I love that attitude. And, I want to be like that. I want to be able to say, use what I teach or what I speak about and create it into your own thing.
Yeah.
Because when you create something into your own image or whatever, put your take on it, it becomes you, part of you. And it's something that you can be proud of. And it's something like you could say, this is what I did, right? This is, I did this. And it's become a part of me now. And that's kind of like, I guess that kind of funnels into what is your legacy? What do you want to leave behind? And yeah, I want to leave behind a lot for people to benefit from. Like, I always imagine, like I was telling you earlier, that I have a pretty imaginative mind, right? And I always go into my imaginations, daydreams, whatever you want to call them. And I'm like, well, what if I was saying that, well, I was thinking about um, my future self having this, largest estate or home, right? With a yard or property, and it's going to have cherry blossoms in it because I
Yeah.
love cherry blossoms. And then I said, oh, and my dogs, I only have one dog right now, but my dogs will be running around in the yard having fun, and I could see that. And I love imagining that because it's just fun. It makes me feel good. And just thinking I could just walk down this path and I could see the cherry blossoms and they'll just be flowing, and that'll be such a great meditation. I'm thinking all this. And when I feel that way, it's like, that you can attain that. It's almost like you're putting your order into the universe saying, hey, this is what I want. And you know what? I'm going to create it. And your imagination helps you create your reality. And I think that's so important that we remember that we are capable of that because, life gets us down. Reality gets us down. Society crushes us a lot. They
Hmm.
knock us down because, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm being morbid and maybe I'm being jaded by saying this, but society's goal or government's goal, let's say, is to control the masses.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not about supporting each individual.
Yeah.
And it's always been like that throughout
Yeah.
history.
Well, yeah, because they don't they prefer us to be consumers
Yes.
than teachers.
Yes.
They prefer us to just spend, consume, 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 and not interact with each other
Yes.
and build each other up and grow this
Yeah.
this community where people get to share in development and share on how we can all be successful and how we can all grow and how yes we are all different, but at the core of it a lot of us are all the same in what we want and where we want to be in life.
Yeah. And I think all of us, what we want is to be happy
Mm.
and for our loved ones to be happy and in a good place, right? And, you know, I don't know, society, I always think of the movie. I don't know if saw the movie Metropolis, the
No,
black and white.
I've never.
Like, you're robots and you're clocking in, you're going into the warehouse or industry you work, and then you clock out, and it's a repeat of that, basically, right?
Yeah.
And then your soul gets lost in that. And I think what, we're trying to do by our podcasts and is really to connect the heart with other hearts and our souls with other souls, because that's where the power is. That's where different movements come about. That's where, when change happens in any society, and it's usually change for the better because it's the people working together to create something that is more sustainable, that is more for the masses. And yeah, and that's where equality comes in and all that. And I'm like, I love my superheroes, so I'm all about equality and justice and all that. So,
Mm.
well, I am.
And of course, of course. No, listen, it's always been. Even I shared the post. I reposted a post. Let me correct myself. I reposted a post, and it said something in the way of it. A true friend would rather see you succeed than see you than really than a true friend would rather see you succeed than for themselves.
Yes.
And that's how I've always been. Where yes, I want to succeed. I'm going to succeed. But at the same, I want to say it the correct way. Hold
Okay.
on, yeah. Let me say it the correct way.
Okay.
Supporting another person's success won't mess up yours.
Yeah.
Real friends want to see you win.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I'm happy when my friends succeed, my true friends.
Yeah.
And because it's like me succeeding when they succeed.
Hmm.
And yeah, because, and like I always say, hindering their success or putting obstacles for their success,
Yeah.
it's not love. That's just my fear that they're going to change or they're going to leave me or,
Yeah. Outshine you. Yeah.
yeah. And, you know, it's not about that. Some people are always going to be shinier than you are, and that's just the way things are. And you know what? But it's like comparing two different things, because we all are going to shine in a different way. We all have different qualities that are good qualities in us, right? That we excel at. We all have something that we excel at, and each of it is slightly different, just like each person is slightly different.
Yeah.
And it's like, one size doesn't fit all for everyone. What brings me joy isn't something that's going to bring you joy necessarily, right?
Yep.
So each one of us is slightly different. So why can't we shine differently?
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean,
It does.
when you look at the night sky and you see the stars, all the stars are shining differently, right? Different, you know, I don't know, some are brighter, some are smaller, but they're all shining. They're all in that beautiful sky, and it's creating this beautiful tapestry, right? And I guess we need to think of it that way, and that each one of us is contributing to the whole.
Yeah. It,
Yeah,
it's it's more where we want our audience to be able to connect to our journey.
yeah,
We want them to be able to feel what we feel, what through what, especially with what we're going through and whatever. And if we're able to if we're able to have the audience connect with us and have our community connect with us because we show our imperfections, that that's it's that's just that's just an amazing aspect of it is being able to show people our imperfections
yeah,
and show them that hey, we're just like you guys.
yeah.
We're just regular folk.
We are. And, for anything, any relationship, I think, like in coaching, one of the, tenets is, you want to be there to have the client feel that they are heard and seen, right? But that's with anything, any relationship. friendships, um, even as, if you're working in retail, your customer needs to be seen and heard because that's just the way you should service people, right? Um, and and I think just in even in, you know, any relationship, you just need to be able to respect them and listen to them, hear them, and be present for them. And I think that's the connection part. And by doing what we do, you know, I want to be able to give someone the space to feel heard, feel seen. And that's why I love doing interviews because sometimes people don't listen to other people. I mean, a lot of times people don't listen to other people. They may hear the words, but they're not really listening. And I want to be able to provide that for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It's
absolutely.
important. I mean, especially for a child.
Hmm.
You know, you see so many adults these days who grew up without anyone really listening to them or them being acknowledged for who they are. And they're becoming very sad individuals, and I feel for them because, they weren't given the opportunity.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of hard to give an adult the opportunity again, but I think it needs to be done because somebody needs to give them that opportunity, that love or care.
Yeah. And that old that but people, right, they have that old saying, can't teach old dog new tricks, right? It was just really stupid.
Yeah.
Now, especially now that I'm older, and I'm realizing that I still have a lot to learn and a lot to grow
Yep.
as a human being, as a man. There's so many. So it took me to, because when you're young, you're not thinking about it. It's like, yeah, you have all the energy, but as I got older, I'm like, wow, this is what that means. Like, I'm it's like there are things I've learned the last few years that the young guys are doing. Like, I'm learning it in my 40s, and this kids 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 going to school or taking, this is something that I've just dove into. Just one, like it became a part of my fabric. It's like, okay, this is something I enjoy. I love it. I want to learn this aspect of it. I want to, and that's what I've done. I've learned how to, again, do my audio, video, improve on what I'm doing.
Yep.
But again, it's because I've dove in and decided not to be afraid,
Yeah.
and decided to want to learn and not be stubborn and be like, okay, I don't know everything.
Yep.
It's important for me to continue to learn and
Oh,
make
yeah.
connections with the people that can show me a much simpler way. They can show me a way without me having to continue to trip over myself.
Yep. 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 And that brings, yeah, I love that point because that brings me to the point of which I suffer from is that I have the hardest time asking for help.
Mm.
And I get reprimanded. Well, not reprimanded, but a lot of people point that out to me. They go, "Why didn't you ask sooner? Why didn't you ask for help sooner?" And I'm like, "Well, I didn't want to bother you, blah, blah, blah." And people are like, "Come on, it's not a bother. And I would tell you if I can't do it at that time, blah, blah, blah." And I'm learning that, it's a hard lesson for me because because of circumstances and because of who I am, I've kind of learned to rely only on myself, right? And that's the part where I'm growing now to kind of like learn to open up, to accept help from others because I can't, this is not good for me to be like this forever.
Yeah.
So, and it's part of my own healing journey, right? To learn to accept help from others and to open up. And I think that's kind of like a theme that I've been going through this past year and a half, probably, that learning to ask for help. And it's not wrong to ask for help because I think, that whole stoic, I can do this by myself, um, thing is always in the back of my head. And that was because I felt like I had to survive, you know. I remember, um, because I live in New York, I do my groceries and I'm carrying all these plastic bags, right? One time. And I was in the lobby of my building and I could barely lift my arms to press the button for the elevator.
Yeah.
And one of my neighbors was there and she goes, "Do you need help?" And I'm like, "No, I'm fine." And she saw me pressing the button for the elevator and she said to me, and this is an older woman, she said to me, um, "Is it out of necessity that you became so independent?" And I was like, "Whoa."
Mm.
That hit me hard.
It should have, because like you know you're struggling, but yet, and that's the thing. Like a lot of us know we're struggling, and we know we're going through some stuff, and yet we still won't ask for help. We won't we won't reach out to people because I don't know if it's because of pride or whatever it is.
It's
It,
also fear of rejection, I think.
huh?
Fear of rejection is probably
It
part of
could be
it
that
too.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be that. It could be also that. Definitely
Mhm.
fear of failure. There's so many
Yeah.
different reasons. So yeah, no, definitely it could be a number of reasons why.
Yeah. But, it's when you and I both, in our different ways, we asked for help is that's when we started growing. That's when things opened up for us. And it's sometimes like everyone says, you have to get out of that comfort zone. Even if the comfort zone is sucky, sometimes we stay in it because that's all we know.
Yeah,
And sometimes you have to kind of like look out and see and, look at others that have succeeded as well. Like I said, the models, who you want to model and
yeah,
see what they did. And usually, if you look into their stories, they had a time when they were struggling just as badly or even worse than you were, and they got out of it. So what did they do? So I think we have to remember that, you know, as human beings, we're very resilient beings. And when we get out of our comfort zone and take that step forward,
yeah,
we soar. We do soar and we can shine.
absolutely. But so and it's crazy because there are so many people out there, right, that have a solution to there's all these
Oh,
coaches
yeah,
and
of
all these,
course.
everybody has these solutions and everything. Um, all I can tell for people out there is find what works for you. Like not every coach is meant for you. Not every course is meant for you.
Exactly.
Not, find that that place where you feel comfortable being able to learn. Find your mentor that you feel that when they deliver their message, it resonates with you big time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It really is because, yeah, there's so much out there. But something's presented to you. Maybe there's a reason that it was presented in front of you, right? So maybe listen to it. If you don't agree with it, move on. Next, right? And
Yeah,
I think you have to do that. I mean, especially in this day and age where there's so much content, there's so much, and the world has gotten smaller. So that means that there's more that's going to be in front of you, right?
yeah.
And just listen to it. If it doesn't resonate, if at first, if you just see it and it's like not something you want to listen to, then move on, go to the next thing. But find something that's going to work for you, that you think, oh, you know what? I really like what that person's saying, or I kind of like that person's voice, or I kind of like that person's, I don't know, demeanor, whatever, right?
And that's another reason why a lot of people fail at what they're doing, right? Because they're trying to cast out this large net, right? And engulf everyone instead of going after your people,
Yeah.
going after the people that you resonate with
Yeah.
going out after people that you know that they're your people. Those are the ones you're trying to touch. But
Yeah.
some of us get caught up with, oh, everyone. I want to reach every. No, unfortunately, that's not how it always works out. It
Yeah.
you have to find your people, find who is it that you're meant to serve, and who is it that you're supposed to provide this guidance for.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. And it's really, who do you want to serve? And usually they say it's who you were 5 years ago. And that kind of makes sense.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
where I was 5 years ago wasn't here.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near where I'm at now. As even as far as everything, with
Oh,
doing
yeah.
podcasting, and it was actually 5 years ago. This month or whatever is when I started
Yeah.
podcasting.
Yep.
It's when I first, I think March 31st was when I released my
Wow.
first episode.
So a year and a month almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been just about that long, something like that. I think I can't even remember, but it's definitely been 5 years.
Yeah. 5 years and
It's
a
been
month.
5 years.
Yeah. 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 But that's amazing because, yeah, I mean, I'm not the person I was 5 years ago for sure. Because I
Yeah,
was still in corporate America 5 years ago. And I thought I was doing perfectly fine. Life was good, you know. And um, it yeah, and I have to really thank COVID for shutting down the world for a bit, because that forced me to slow down and reevaluate.
yeah,
Because when you're caught in that hamster wheel, you don't know. You're just going. You're like, I just gotta keep going. I just have to keep on going, and you don't realize until somebody breaks that wheel, or something happens that you have to stop running, and you're like, what's going on? And yeah, I mean, my journey in the last 5 years is like real growth, because yeah, I didn't, like I said, going like this, rotating, and going this way is totally different. And I feel it in my heart. I feel in my mind. I feel I'm, overall, I'm just happy, as a happier person,
yeah,
and more content in who I am and knowing who I am. So sometimes you gotta, I don't know, sometimes that something drastic needs to happen for you to decide to make the change, because I could have gone either way, right?
yeah,
When COVID hit, I could have been like, oh, I'm miserable, blah, blah, blah. I want my old life back, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to embrace this and go with it. So, It's kind of like, yeah, instead of getting hit by the wave and going down and
Yeah.
saying, I'll never try again, instead of saying that, decided that I wanted to surf the waves. That's how I like to look at it. Not that I'm a surfer, but I
Uh,
would love to learn, but yeah, I don't know. At 60, can I? I don't know.
uh, never
Maybe.
know. Yeah, you can. It's how you feel.
Yep. Yep. Oh, speaking of age, I saw yesterday, I think I was on Instagram and I saw this woman, Japanese woman who's 95, who started photography at 72.
Wow.
And she was yeah, and she was it showed some of the photographs that she took of herself. And they were just very cool. They're very cool. I forgot what her name was, but I was looking at it. I was like, I love this lady because, she started something at 72 and she's like flourishing at 90, whatever, right? And I'm like, that's going to be me.
Uh,
I want to be that spunky old lady. Yay.
oh, so April 30th will be 5 years since I released my second episode.
Woohoo.
So 'cause I know it was like a month in between release. So I released my first episode like March 30th, 2020.
Okay.
The second one was April 30th, 2020. Yeah. And then I started getting a little bit more consistent.
Yeah.
Then my next one was May 4th, and then I started just dropping them like consistently, like from there on out. It's been, but now I've kind of scaled it back to releasing every other week. Audio, not video, because I'm always doing video weekly,
Mm-hmm.
but audio is I'm doing it probably once every 10 days or something
Oh,
like
cool. Cool. Yeah, it's great. And I know you've gotten so many downloads and you've hit like mile markers and
that. Oh yeah,
so I'm really happy for you and I think it's great. And we just have to keep on doing it and I don't know. I think it's really because we know our purpose is that we want to help and we want to serve others. And because by serving others, I gain joy.
yeah.
So it's not, I'm kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm a little selfish because I get a little joy out of it too. But I'm not a selfless person. So
Yeah, no. But this, as always, we're coming up to that time. Time just be flying by when we have these conversations. But as always, we always start off one topic and we go everywhere, whatever our minds take us.
yes,
So, and that's what I love. Again, this is why I love doing this show, is because we start off with one topic and we discuss many different ones. So it's always a pleasure to be able to sit down with you and have these conversations.
likewise, likewise.
And if you haven't, please subscribe to us on Real Wise TV. Uh, you can check me out at Wize on Instagram, as well as on TikTok. Yayoi, where can they find you? Where
Uh, yep, you can find me on Brain to Belly Coaching. That's my website where you can find all the links to my Facebook group, which is Brain to Belly. I make it easy for people. Uh, and also B to Belly for my for my YouTube and also Instagram. It's just my name. So you'll find me and you'll see this mug somewhere.
somewhere, definitely.
And you'll see the words brain to belly somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you everybody for the support. Actually, one of the shirts you did very well. One of the shirts I did of you, one of the clips that I got of
Thank
you,
you.
did
Thank you.
very well on YouTube. So
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, and as well as on Instagram. So I've been picking up some traction on Instagram with the shorts and stuff like that. So, but thank everybody out there for the support. Continue to check out Brain to Belly on Real Wise TV's YouTube channel. It's We're doing this because we love to do it. So
Yeah.
we appreciate you all who tune in and watch the show,
Yes.
and thank you. Greatly
Yes.
appreciate it.
Yes. I love Cognitive Cuisine, and I love that we're doing this, and it's a great collaboration.
Definitely.
And I think it helps both of us in different ways. And so thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And yes, support us both, because we're here to help you, and reach out if something does resonate. We're not going to bite you.
Well, complete opposite.
Yep, yep. We'll support you in whatever way we can. So, and take anything that we've said, and if you use it and it helps you, I'm just very glad for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Yes.
peace out.
Peace out.